Eric told me that he plays baseball, and the only way he could describe what happened to him was like being hit by a fastball. Okay, folks, hopefully you can see me. I'm out here on Westcliff Drive in Santa Cruz, where we are getting pelted by a heavy, thick rain. The wind is even stronger, and the waves are even nastier.
After Jack found the scent, Deputy Barger searched the car and looked in the gas tank and found $228,000 worth of meth. A lake like this would be a breeding ground for the mosquito, but what's more concerning is that it can reproduce in just a teaspoon of water. Firefighters are practicing exercises to not only save your life, but also using their fire shelters in case they ever get caught in a fire. The grapes are picked as early as 2 in the morning, so they can get them inside as cold as possible. 1,800 gallons of water are dumped into this tank in less than a minute. It's an incurable disease you can get just by breathing. It's a fungus found in dry soil.
CHP says that after the accident, the driver got out of the car off this off-ramp and ran across the street all the way to this Shell gas station behind me to call for help so he could get out of here.
The fact that
So this summer, we're swinging back around to the same playgrounds, the same parks, to show you what's changed in a year. Join the Contact 5 investigators back on the playground beat, where promises made should be promises kept.
And get this, there's no state law requiring them to be. So we took our own samples at 10 stations from Fort Pierce to Lake Worth.
After letting our samples sit here overnight, I was surprised to discover sediments at the bottom of not just one, but 2 of our gas samples. It's hard to see on camera, but the state says it's enough to shut down the pumps.
And get this.
You probably don't know you're paying at the pump for the state to spot those leaks and to help clean them up. We took a closer look at the numbers. Every time you fill up, you're getting charged an extra 4 cents a gallon for the program. That's about $1 every time you fill up your tank, and the numbers add up. The state collects close to $200 million from the tax every year.
thing we do.
And long. As the Contact 5 investigators discovered, this is the list of school employees who scored overtime last year. 283,000 hours of time and a half, worth $6.5 million.
It certainly seems vulnerable.
You need to know more about what's inside here. It's called radio frequency identification. It's technology the size of a grain of rice, but it's so powerful it can track people and things around the globe. And most recently, RFID chips like this have been implanted in credit cards so you can pay without ever sliding your plastic.
To me.
Upon impact, Officer Eberhardt was traveling no more than 33 miles per hour.
Underride guards are required on most big trucks. Its purpose is to prevent drivers from sliding underneath the back of a semi in the event of a crash. Turns out they're not always there, and when they are, some are in such bad condition, they're worthless. But ultimately, they were all allowed to keep their teaching certificate, and today they remain in our classrooms. By the Contact 5 investigators show since 2007, roughly 130 of Florida's 40,000 licensed pharmacists have been disciplined for giving patients the wrong dosage or even the wrong drug.
When someone...
Soon after the shooting, the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office released Deputy Michael Sajinski's file. His background contained little to be concerned about. A few unsubstantiated citizen complaints, outnumbered by more than a dozen praises. PBSO eventually settled the case, but not before the Contact 5 investigators discovered the agency charged with enforcing the law spent years trying to hide the truth.
We made a mistake. There's no doubt about that. They should have been released sooner than they were, but there was nothing maliciously done here.
A mistake that just fell through the cracks. Sounds innocent enough, but what was it about those files that seemed to cause so much drama to begin with? Before a child can even be picked up, the driver has to record all their information in a log similar to this one. Once they arrive where they're going, the driver once again has to record all that information. Once the child leaves the bus or van, the driver still has work to do. They have to actually physically do a walkthrough, a visual sweep, to make sure No child is left behind. It's only then that they can finally leave.
This was a trend we didn't just find in Savannah, but our cameras caught other politicians also using these devices. In fact, just a couple weeks ago here at Statesboro City Hall, we caught politicians doing something very similar. So why do some people get on board with this deadline? Well, they simply like knowing you either buy now or have nothing for Christmas. And completely on them. And as more of us turn to these gadgets, it's becoming harder to turn them off. Here's how it's going to work. For every $1,000 of appraised value, you pay $4. So say, for example, your home is valued at $100,000. You now would have to pay an extra $400 in property taxes every year. The group has done a lot of training to get ready for the big day, and our cameras will be right there with them. I mean, we're just talking a few miles, right, guys?
No, this is a few 222 miles.
Oh. Well, I guess this is just a little bit better attire.
Burnson says he tries to recruit his neighbors at his retirement community to join him here online, but he tells me not many are interested in making a profile.
ABC 57 has just confirmed starting quarterback Everett Golson is no longer enrolled at the university.
News breaks a Saturday night in May that Golson was no longer enrolled at the school that he led to the national championship nearly 5 months earlier. And the following day, Golson releases a written statement saying he was suspended for the fall 2013 term due to poor academic judgment. It wasn't until 5 months after his suspension that Golson told Sports Illustrated what really happened.
Basically, I had poor judgment on the test.
At different spots downtown, there's a chance you can run into at least 1, 2. Here at the corner of Colfax and Hill, you can count number 3 and 4. And here you can stumble upon road closure number 5. And even with multiple detours, organizers say it may not be a bad thing. Just after 8 o'clock Wednesday morning along Mayflower Road, you couldn't even make out the outline of the airport. And boy, what a difference a few hours can make. Right now it's about 1 p.m. and you can actually see what's surrounding me out here. Back behind me is the airport, and off to my right here is the FedEx site that we couldn't even make out this morning.